White privilege is a topic that is very much discussed very often where I'm from in the US. There is the belief that if you are white, you systemically have a bigger advantage than black people and people of color. And there are people who say that, it doesn't matter how you look like, there is no such thing as white privilege. Regardless of your opinion on the topic, I'm here to tell you that out of all things that made me think about this more deeply, teaching English abroad made me think about this concept more deeply. It is true that white people have much more advantages than black people, Indian people, but I'm gonna just be honest with you, it's the truth. Now, I have nothing against white people. I have a lot of white friends. Some of my closest friends are white. This isn't about my opinion on white people, it's just the facts. White people, in Asia especially, have white privilege, and I just wanna get into it. Why is this the case? The first reason as to why white people have white privilege overseas is because of employment. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, any normal person will be thinking to themselves that when it comes to employment, you get hired based on your skills, your experience, and just your work ethic. Well, unfortunately, in Asia, that's not the case. In the world of teaching English abroad, several schools prefer white people. You will literally see job postings saying that the person must be white, must be blonde, and have blue eyes. That if you're black, a lot of parents just don't want their children learning English from a foreigner who isn't white. Anyone who has experienced teaching English abroad understands, especially if you've taught at a kindergarten or an elementary school teaching young kids, that you're not really only a teacher, you're an entertainer. And you have to look a certain way. When you think of an actor, Chris Hemsworth is Thor, right? Because he looks the part of the comic book character. The same way it comes to teaching abroad. You have to look a certain part to sell the school. And in Asia, there's a lot of women are getting products that are bleaching their skin and makeup that whitens their skin. There's a big obsession with fair skin, and they just see it as more beautiful, as more appealing. And these parents, this has been going on for years and years, so these parents are probably thinking, if my son or daughter's teacher is not white, if the person is black, then it's bad. It sounds strange. It is strange, quite frankly, but that's the reality. Personally, I've not faced much discrimination when it comes to getting a job, but I admit it may just be because of my nationality, and I'm not fully black, I am half black. But the reality is that there are several job postings blatantly saying that the applicant must be white. This isn't for all schools, it's mostly for elementary and kindergartens. Of course, not all kindergartens and elementaries have this requirement, but it is a thing that does happen. The second reason as to why white people have white privilege abroad is because of dating. I was in South Korea for almost 5 years, and I've been in China for almost 2 years. And between both countries, I could count only a handful of times I have seen a local person holding hands with someone that wasn't white when it comes to interracial dating. Whenever you see someone holding hands with a foreigner, majority of the time, the person is white. The good news if you're white is that if you go overseas to teach English, even if you're not that attractive in your mind, or even if you're average looking, even if you're overweight, doesn't matter. You can still easily date here in Asia because of the very fact that, a white person, you got that advantage. When it comes to dating overseas, it can be challenging meeting people with language barriers. So very often, a lot of foreigners go on dating apps or language exchange apps to meet people because they could find people who speak in English. Before I met my wife almost 4 years ago in Korea, I would also go on apps to try to meet women. And very often, I rarely got matches, and I never understood it because I don't think I'm like some ogre, like some Shrek. And I couldn't find a lot of matches. And, I got some, but I'm willing to bet if I was white, I'd get a lot more. Because I remember meeting white people, white English teachers, who would easily always get matches, and they'd always be going on dates. And good for them. I'm nothing against them, but it's just a reality. And there's I've done some basic research on why people in Asia have this obsession with fair skin, and part of it is that back in the day, before these countries got developed, people had to work in the sun all day, and you know, having dark skin is also seen as being poor. It's kind of weird. And if you're rich, you have lighter skin. So I guess if you are not white, for several people, they see that as, I don't want to be associated with that. And obviously, there are people who are attracted to black men. There are several people who like black men, and there are several men who are attracted to black women. But even if they are, some people are still not going to date them because they are afraid of what people are going to think, that they'll be judged, because there's this weird stigma of dating black people, Indian people, Arabic people, just anyone who's not white, because white is seen as, ooh, they got fair skin. So, does white privilege exist in Asia? It does. However, don't let this stop you from teaching English abroad. You can still get employment if you're not white. Not every job posting is about your skin color and appearance, and you can still find the love of your life abroad. You could date other foreigners, and you could even fall in love with someone who's local. It just may be a little more challenging, but it's not impossible. So I didn't make this video to scare you, just to give perspective. If you are curious about teaching English abroad, you want to know more about it, learn more about it, then book a one-on-one consultation with me. I could listen to what your goals are, what you're interested in, and I could suggest which country or which countries are best for you and where you do better, where you thrive. The link is in the description below. Regardless of what color you are, whether you're black, white, Indian, Asian, take the leap and teach English abroad and go on the adventure of a lifetime. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.